Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. It is time for part 2 of our campaign, playing as the ace, the Austrian ace, Godwin von Brumowski here, and he's right here. And we did a part 1, which is available on the channel if you would like to catch up and see it. I'm trying to make sure I get everything in this shot here. So we will be picking it up. This is our second contact sortie of September 1916, which is the first month of the game. Now, they abstract out all the flying because flyers flew pretty much every day. There was weather that they could fly in. So, and a lot of those resulted in no real action. So what they did was they have contact sorties that you roll for, which I did in part 1. And we got 6, which is the most you can have. So we have 6 contact sorties in September. We only flew 1, which was a bit more action-packed than I would have liked, considering we got no victories. We got shot up pretty good, had to do an emergency landing. Luckily for us, we did not suffer any injuries or anything. So we will be picking this up with the start of our second sortie of the month of September 1916. To do this, we will roll 2d6 here on our A1 chart. We got a 5. And here is our A1 chart for 1916, Central Powers. A 5 is an offensive patrol, okay? So offensive patrols must at least travel to enemy territory. So what that means is, here on our map, we are based in Trieste, and then we would fly through friendly territory. This is the front, so that's no man's land. This is the Isonzo front. Then this would be enemy territory. So we have to go we have to take off where we can have an encounter, and we fly through over our own territory where we can again have an encounter. Fly over no man's land where we can again have an encounter, and then fly there again, possibly going to have an encounter, and then we have to go back. So that makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 possible encounters we may face here as we continue our month of September. Okay, so we move our plane to takeoff, and this is endurance, and this is our mission. So we go from hangar to takeoff landing, and then we roll on, here is our encounter chart, A3. So if we were playing as an allied country, which we're not, we would roll in this one. Since we're rolling in this one, which covers friendly lines as well as enemy lines. Then we'll fly over no man's land, and then we'd go back over enemy lines ultimately. So we'll roll twice on here, then once on here, and then once again on here, and then back the other way. So let me 2 dice here. I'll move this down so you can maybe see the dice. Whoops. Well, that's a 3 and a 3, which is a 6. And a 6 over friendly lines is nothing. So we move to friendly territory. We roll again. And we got a 7 that time. And so you have to roll here. And you can see there are 7 boxes. So you have an interesting conundrum sometimes based on how long your mission goes. So we're looking again here. And again, 7 is nothing. So now we move this down 1 again, and we move to no man's land, and now we're going to roll on this chart. And that is a 6 and a 2, which is an 8. And an 8 is a fighter. So we're going to have a fighter encounter. Now we switch to chart A3E, which is for the Italian front. You can see you've got the Italians and the Austro-Hungarians here. We're going to roll on the Italian fighters. So again, we roll our 2d6. And we got a 4, and a 4 is a Newport 11, which is available. You can see dates on some of these that would not be available. We would have to re-roll. But we got a Newport 11 here. The Newport 11 has an agility of 2 and a speed of 10. And I don't see a card for it with Italian colors, so I was using the Belgian one. So we will continue on here. And I can take all of these off here. Forgot to do that. Okay, and now we will continue. All right, so I will note that here on my aircraft target list, and we will move on to our encounter. Now, first thing we have to do is roll for our starting orientation on B1. Okay, so we will roll here again, 2d6, deuce, double ones, snake eyes. Player is out of the sun. An aircraft attacking out of the sun starts advantage, fires first. Enemy aircraft does not get to flip a defensive card or take any actions or use any skills. So we get one free shot, basically, which is awesome for us. So we're going to turn this around. Now I was using this as a placeholder so I don't have to dig out the various allied counters. And the colored band would be the front of the aircraft. So we are in a tailing position because we're coming out of the sun. So we're advantaged, and we're going to fire first, which means we draw a card. And it's an attack card. Now, our aircraft has a forward firepower of 3. So that is 3 hits. They don't get to do anything defensively. I forgot to roll for weather. We'll do that when we land. It's not a big deal for now. I think it only affects landing. If I remember correctly, you know what? I'll just roll for it. Use a D10 for that. It's a 9. That's bad weather. So now we know the weather. It's not great. Okay, so 3 hits. So now we get to roll for where those hits are on the aircraft. That is this chart, B6. So we're going to roll our 2 dice. We read the black one first, white one second. And a 52 is our first result. That is canvas, which means no damage. We roll again. And we got a 35 this time. That is port strut. So port strut. So this is the Newport 11's card. This is obviously a Belgian one, but it's the same aircraft. I'm going to track its damage here. It'll be off camera because I don't want to mess with my layout here. But I will keep you updated as we go along, just to make sure everybody knows what we've got in terms of damage. So we have 1 damage to the port struts. And we have 1 more hit yet to roll for, so I will roll for that right now. This is not there. Okay, 66 fuel tank. So this could be a big one. Okay, so let me put a fuel tank damage marker on here. Fuel tank. All right. So with a fuel tank hit, we have to check for a fire. So here on chart B4, you look at fuel tank. A fuel tank hit or an engine hit requires a 2d6 roll. 2 is fire if it's an engine hit. 2 to 11 is leaking on a fuel hit, and 12 is a fire for either. So we're either going to get a leaking fuel tank or a fire. So leaking tanks result in the loss of 1 extra endurance per box. So that won't really have any impact on them. But we will check to see what we get. If we roll double 6s again, which we did not, we rolled a 10. So that is a fuel leak, but it's not an explosion. All right, so now we move on to the endurance roll, or I'm sorry, the initiative roll. The instructions for that are actually carried right on the card here. So we roll 2 dice, 1 for each. So I'll use black for my pilot and white for the Allied pilot, or the Italian pilot in this case. And we'll look at you add the speed. Okay, so their speed is 10, ours is 11. That gives us a slight advantage. So we're going to roll here. And I got a 1 and they got a 3. Okay, so that would be no change in being advantaged or no change in orientation. No change in orientation. So we're going to attack again. And we're going to draw a card. And we get 2 hits this time. And oh, I forgot. I have the gunnery skill. So I get an extra random hit with the gunnery skill. So that's 3, and we should have had 4 last time, but I'm not going to go back and litigate the past here. So we got 2 hits on them. Now we'll draw for their defensive maneuver. Okay, so defense, they have wingman, busy, no help. So they're not going to get any reduction because tight turn, improved turn. Oh, they do get tight turn. Sorry, they get tight turn, which improves 1. So that's going to turn them to the side. And, well, wait a minute. I think they were advantaged. We were advantaged, which means we were on their side before. So that's going to actually change it to head on. Yes, that's correct. So there was no real, I mean, we were out of the sun, so we got a free attack. This one is not, but we are neutral to them, so we're going kind of head on here. But we do still roll for our 3 hits because they don't actually lose any hits with that defense. So let's see what we get here. So our first roll is a 65, which is canvas, so no damage. Next roll is a 26, which is, again, canvas, so no damage. So they're being pretty lucky here. And our third one is a 16, which is now a fuel tank. A second fuel tank hit forces an emergency landing. I just realized I don't have my ammo on here. So we're going to take one of these away because I have fired twice, leaving us with 4 ammo. Okay, so typically when and I didn't mention this earlier, but when an enemy aircraft has leaking fuel tanks, it will attempt to disengage, but it cannot do that when it is not when it is disadvantaged. It can only be, well, let me rephrase. It can do that automatically if it's tailing, but it cannot do it. And if it's advantaged, it needs to roll a die. So it doesn't say anything about disengagement if you're not either of those. So since we're neutral, he can't disengage. So on this next round, he will get to fire his guns. So he took another fuel tank damage, and that's all. And now we'll roll. Oh, I got to roll for fire. So we'll roll again for fire. And we know 2 to 11 will be leak, and a 12 will be an explosion. And it's a 10, so the leak continues or maybe worsens. Now we will roll for initiative. I have a 5. He has a 5, so that gives me the initiative. So I get to fire first. So attack. This time I get 4 hits. Okay, we're head on, and I could have attempted to make my position better, but I did not. I'm going to fire to see if I can shoot him down. So with 4 hits, now let's see what he gets. He may take some hits away. So he's got a barrel roll, which avoids 2 hits, leaving him with two hits. So we'll roll for those 2 hits. We got a 52, which is canvas. And the second hit is a 12, which is port strut. So that's 2 hits now on his port strut. The third hit will destroy it. Okay, so now we will, we're still head on. So we're going to go to the next roll for initiative. And I got a 4, he got a 1. So that actually, I believe, will let us improve because we have an advantage in speed of 1. So that would be a 5 to 1, which is a net differential of 3 and 4 is a gain 1 position. So he's going to, again, be disadvantaged now. And I'm going to draw another attack. And we got 4 hits this time. With the bonus 1 for gunnery, we'll make it 5. And he does a evasives, which avoids all damage. Okay, so now we'll try our initiative again, and I got a 6-1, so that's going to be an advantage of 6, which is gain 2 positions, which is going to put us on his tail. Okay, so, and when you're tailed, that makes things really difficult for you. So let us, yeah, we're going to attack again. So again, we got 5. And on his previous card, his defensive fire was no hits. 5 hits. So his His side loop improves by 1. His wingman improved by 1. So he's going to improve by 2. So that would be back to head on for the next round. But in the meantime, we have 5 hits to roll in on him. Got a 54, which is landing gear. So let me mark that. And the next one is a 26. That is canvas. 3 to go. 12 is port strut. That's the 3rd port strut that is destroyed. And I believe that means he crashes. So if we check our wing struts, right? When damage equals the strut total for that wing, port or starboard, it is destroyed and the plane is shot down. So we do have a shoot down here. And again, I was forgetting to use up my ammo. So I think I fired 3 more times, which would leave me with only 1 ammo. All right, 1 ammo. And I'm going to mark him down and mark down that we shot him down. So we'll get 1. We'll get our first kill here. Well, he starts with 3, so that would be his 4th kill, his 4th victory, meaning he would only need 1 more to actually become an ace. Now, in real life, he had 35 victories during his career as a pilot for the Austro-Hungarians. Okay, so that ends this one, and we are done. We didn't take any damage because we started off out of the sun, which helped us a lot. And I didn't change the mission. So if you wonder what an offensive patrol mission chit looks like, this is it right here. I'm just going to stick this right on here. I'm actually going to head back to base. We got a kill, so it will be a successful mission. And I only have 1 ammo left, so I don't see the point in trying to go back. So we're going to move ourselves from no man's land back to friendly territory. And we will roll for an encounter here. Again on chart A3. We got a 6 over enemy lines. That is nothing, or friendly lines rather. Now we'll go to landing. We'll check for an encounter. Got a 9. 9 is a fighter. So we have another fighter over our base now. So again, we'll have to roll to see who is advantaged here. Using chart B1. We got a 6 head on. So that's actually how we're set up. Now let me roll to see what we've got in terms of enemy fighter, which is A3E, which I should have done first. We got a 9, which is a Henriot HD1, which they don't have yet, so we need to roll again. We got a 6, which is a Newport 11 once again. Once again, we are taking on the Newport 111, and we will get things underway here. So we know we're starting neutral. Okay, so I think we flip for ourselves here, and we are going to attack. I'm going to be aggressive. We did get a 4 plus 1 is a 5. Now they are also able to fire. Their firepower is a 2, and they get 5 hits as well. So this is going to be interesting. Okay, so we have 5, yes, 5 and 5. So let me roll mine first. Okay, so let me roll mine first. We'll see what we got. We've got a 53, and that is starboard strut. So I will put that on the enemy aircraft. Starboard strut has a damage now. And second one is a 21. 21 is landing gear, which really doesn't matter. We're not worried about him landing. Next one is 26, which is canvas. That's nothing. Third is 52, canvas. And the last one, 65, canvas. Okay, well, he got out of there relatively unscathed. I can almost guarantee I will not get out of here unscathed. So we got 5 hits for them to roll, 56. rear guns, which we don't have, so it gets ignored. Next, 11 is a crew injury. Okay, crew injury. That's not good. So let me roll the other hits, and then we'll do our crew injury. Well, maybe we should do crew injury first. Let's see. So you roll 2. 2 to 7 is the pilot, which is what we... so we needed to get an 8 or higher, and we got a 3. So the pilot has been injured. Now we roll for severity with 1d6. We got a 3, which is a light wound. So the pilot has a light wound. I don't actually see that on the card. I'm just going to... actually, I'm just going to put it on here. And so we still have 3 hits left to do. 42 is port strut. So that's another strut that's been hit. Okay. And 16 is fuel tank. We'll put that there. We roll again for fire. Nope, just a fuel leak with a 4. Okay, now there's, I think, 2 left to do here. We got another 11, which again is a crew injury. Just roll 1. Oh, wait, we do have to roll 2. If that had been a 3, we would have been good. Now we roll a 1, and this one is a 3 again. So I think a second light wound becomes a severe wound. So we'll flip that over. And last hit to roll is a 26, which is canvas, thankfully. Okay, so we're head on, and I'm severely wounded. So what does that mean? Well, here you see severe wound means I lose 2 hits. It's a +1 to land, and I cannot use my skills. So I don't get the extra hit from gunnery skill. And I can't use my expert skill either, which is sitting right there unused. So we got to do initiative again. And it's a 1-1. Now, I think in this case, that's a no change. So we're still head on. Now, I am going to attempt to disengage so I can land. And the way that works, actually, I can't. I would have to do a dive and try an emergency landing, which could get me even more shot up. But I'm already severe. I have a severe wound, and this is rough because they get a +1 on their attempt to shoot at us. But standard maneuver. So I'm going to do a standard maneuver to try and to drop in altitude to try and land an emergency landing. So let's see what they do to us. They got 4 hits. +1 is 5. I don't get a defensive maneuver. And let's see if I killed myself by doing this. 53 is starboard strut. So we've got each strut has been hit once. Then we have the second hit is a 61. That is tail. And tail is here. Okay, and then we roll again. 63 is canvas. 2 more hits to go. 55 is canvas. Last hit. 43. 43 is rear guns, which we don't have. So we actually got through that. There is no AA because we're not over enemy territory or we're not over no man's land. We don't have to worry about that. Now we have to roll for our emergency landing. So the landing is going to be interesting because we have bad weather, which gives us a +2. And here's our landing chart, right? So you can see bad weather is a +2, serious wound on pilot is a +1. And we don't have a control hit. We took a hit to the tail, the tank, tail tank, and each strut. Nothing is out. So I think we're okay, except, but we get another +1 for that. So that's 1, 2, 4. So a +4 means we need an 8 or less for a safe landing. And we got a 5. So a 5 plus 4 is 9, which is still within the safe landing zone. So that is a successful landing. That was kind of brutal, to be honest. Now, we do have our after effects of being injured, I think. So, injury duration. Okay, so severe wound. If this occurs to the pilot, you must immediately break off combat, right? Which is what I did. Then you, after landing, roll 2d6 on the serious wound resolution chart, which is C2, and I'll dig that out here in a moment. And it determines the number of sorties missed by that crewman. If this is anybody other than the pilot, use a temporary crewman. He is considered to not have any skills. You are not required. Okay, so let's see what we get. Let me find C2 here. All right, here is C2. So a 2 means our career is over because we got double amputation. And we've got a bunch of missing months, and then high numbers will give us missing sorties. So hopefully that's not too bad. So we don't want boxcars here because that would be, oh my goodness, it's an 11. It was almost a 12. I mean, we didn't want snake eyes. So it's an 11, which means a scalp wound. We missed 2 sorties. All right, so since we've flown 2, we have to miss 2. That leaves us with 2 more for September. Okay, so I made a couple of quick corrections here. I'm just gonna, maybe we'll use that side. We'll just stick them off to the side. Anyway, I forgot that they get reflexes and advanced maneuvers for free. That is a clarification. It's not mentioned in the rules as printed in the rule book for ACEs, but the rules clarification, the errata sheet does list it as being true. So that we have 3 skills there, plus the gunnery skill, which is over here on the pilot mat. You can't see it, but the wingman is below. He's got 2 points of experience points for our 2. Actually, did we get a successful sortie the first time? I think we have 1 experience point. Because I don't think the first sortie was successful. Although we went out and came back and we did have an encounter, so that actually does count. So 2 experience points each. I don't have any prestige points. I do have a prestige level of 1. Okay, and I'm eligible for the wound medal, but the Austro-Hungarian the Austro-Hungarians didn't give a wound medal until August of 1917, so we can get that retroactively, which would also convey us a prestige point. But I'm not going to take the prestige point for it because we won't get it till August of 17, assuming we get that far, which we may not. Anyway, we will now continue on with our 5th sortie, essentially. I started ticking them off here. I know it's probably hard to see because it's in pencil, but there's 4 there. I did put our 2 Newport 11s in here. One that I X'd them because we shot them down. This one, the other 3, the 2, well, we saw a Caproni CA3 in the first sortie and a Spad S13 as well. Did not shoot either of those down. We got shot up and ended up having to make an emergency landing. Both sorties I've flown so far have resulted in emergency landings. Now we've got a Newport 11 we've shot down and one we did not. That shot us up and made us do another emergency landing. So you can see how deadly air combat in the First World War was. Let's start our next sortie. All right. We are going to roll first for our mission assignment. 2d6. Lots of spinning. We got a 12. 12 is balloon busting, which we've not done yet. So balloon busting. All right. Balloon busting is a special mission where we get to shoot down balloons, and I'm flipping through the rule book here to get info on that. So balloon busting, and the other special type mission is a ground attack. All right, so normal combat rules do not apply. So you fly to no man's land, resolving any encounters. And you may not engage enemy two-seaters as you're loaded with incendiary explosive ammunition, and that's not permitted by the St. Petersburg Declaration and the Hague Convention as well. However, you may still defend yourself from enemy scouts if attacked en route to the balloon. Special notes: in the rare case you are on a balloon busting mission, have to defend yourself from an enemy scout and hit his fuel tank, you do automatically set him on fire because of the incendiary ammunition rather. So we get all of our ammo back, all 6 of them. That's 3. There are 2. So this is the ammo counter. You've got 2 sides, of course, one with a 2 on it, one with a 1 on it. We start with 6. So we know our mission is balloon busting. And let's see, where is the balloon busting? I don't see one. It's got to be here. I must be missing my balloon busting here. Let me see if I can track it down. And I found it. Here it is, balloon busting, current mission. Okay, so we fly to no man's land, shoot up some balloons, hopefully, and then head back. All right, let's get it going. So we will start off, take off. And we rolled an 8 in the takeoff box, and that is nothing. And so we'll roll again as we move to friendly territory. And we got a 10, and a 10 is nothing. So now we get to no man's land, and this is where the action starts. Okay, so balloon busting. Okay, so the balloon busting is going to introduce a couple of different aspects we have not seen yet. One of those being anti-aircraft fire. So you automatically will find the balloons because they were stationary. Locations were known, of course. They were visible, anchored over the lines. So we are going to, or anchored just behind the lines in reality. Anyway, we got to roll to see if we take anti-aircraft fire or if it hits us really. So we're going to roll a d6. If we get a 1 to 3, we're going to take 1d6 random hits and damage. We got a 4, so no damage on our first pass. Okay, now we roll for the attack. So since we survived without having any aircraft fire hit us, we flip a card. We look at our firepower. 3 or more hits, downs the balloon. So we got 4, balloon is down. It's pretty simple. And now it's possible if you drew like a 2, let's say, that you would not down the balloon and have to take a second pass. Now on the way out, since the AA knows you're there, you have to roll for damage. So we're going to roll 1d6 and see how many hits they get us. Whew, 5. All right. So now just like if we were in a dogfight, we have to roll the 2d6 to see what the AA has done to us. A 36 is controls. Fantastic. Let me put a damage on our controls. Now we still have 4 more to get through here. 36 is controls again. So guess what? That is a DE result, which means we are shot down. So in this instance, that would kill me. Now I again forgot to take my ammo or flip it over. So I'll do that just for completeness sake. But our campaign is over since we got shot down. That was some bad rolling. I mean, I rolled 5 hits, first of all, and then to take controls on consecutive hits, that's pretty bad. And, if all of a plane's control points are hit, it is considered shot down. So I've not seen anything that would indicate if a pilot can survive being shot down. So I'm assuming that means he's dead and the game's over. It would make sense. I mean, this was not a high survivability situation if a plane at that, these fragile wooden canvas planes got shot down. That was pretty much all she wrote for the pilot. So that will do it for this short-lived series, obviously. I do appreciate you watching. I hope you got something out of it, something, something, something worthwhile. Anyway, much shorter than I thought it would be, and that I would hoped it would be. But that is the nature of this game. That was the nature of air combat during the First World War. So not really a surprising result. It just happened sooner rather than later. So anyway, that is it for now. Quick shout out again to my channel members. I appreciate the support, guys. Thank you very much for that. You can click on the join button if you are interested in finding out more about becoming a channel member. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have questions or comments, you can put them in the comment section. I do my best to answer or acknowledge all comments that are left on the channel. If not, hopefully you'll consider liking, sharing, or hyping the video. That is all great, helps with the visibility and so on. And if you think you'd like to get notified of new videos and so on, you can subscribe and click the bell, and that will not only subscribe you to the channel, but also send you notifications when a new video is posted. But even if you don't do all of those things, I do, again, thank you for watching. Hope you'll come back. Thanks to my subscribers as well. But that is it for this one. Until next time, I'm Joe. This is the Hexed Encounter channel. And as always, happy gaming.